Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The topic is the conservation of the biodiversity. Conservation means giving protection to biodiversity, to living organisms, especially some important animals and also important plants. What's the need of the conservation of the biodiversity? The need of the biodiversity feel by the biologist because there is big loss of biodiversity in the last century. Many species become extinct and many species become endangered. What are the extinct and endangered species? You must know about the definition of these two because many times these two definitions are sometimes a question of difference between the extinct and endangered came in the previous papers as a question. So extincts are those organisms which are no longer remain in an ecosystem. The last individual of this species when died in the ecosystem is known as extinct. Means no species remain alive. So those species are known as extinct. While endangered are those species which are at greater risk of extinction. Some of their members remain alive, but they also have a risk of their extinction, risk of their disappearance. So all these causes feel the conservation of the biodiversity, that how can we protect, how can we conserve, how can we preserve the living organisms from extinction and become endangered. Like in Pakistan, the most important endangered species are the lion, tiger, Asiatic cheetah, and many others which are given in your book. So these organisms need protection. Now we will study about the impact of the human beings on biodiversity. That what is the role of loss of biodiversity of human due to human beings. So when we study the role of the human, we know that as the population of the human being increase day by day with a very rapid speed, they must need their needs of living, needs of life, and for that they destroy the biodiversity. They use the biodiversity in such a way that many important species of the biodiversity become extinct and endangered. First of all, most of the living organisms, especially the human, they use the biodiversity for hunting, for their food, and the ratio of that is 23%. They destroy the habitat, like they clear the forests, they clear the trees for their industries, for their factories, for their houses, for many other purposes, and the habitat destruction is 36%. And other, for example, they use the trees for the building material, they use the animals for their specific reasons, sometimes for their teeth, sometimes for their skin, sometimes for other reasons. So other use of the biodiversity by human being is the 2%. So all these are the activities which destroy the biodiversity, and the species introduction in the biodiversity is only 39%. If someone introduces a new species in a biodiversity in a specific area, the ratio of that is only 39%. So all these activities, it shows that human have a great impact in the loss of the biodiversity. Now the next topic is the deforestation and overhunting. First of all, we will study that what is deforestation and what is overhunting. Deforestation is the removal of the forest for many purposes, while overhunting is the killing of the animals for specific purposes, and when the killing is cross the special ratio or percentage, it is known as overhunting. The forests are very important for the ecosystem as well as for the living organisms. The forests are habitat of the living organism for many animals and for many plants, for many vertebrates and invertebrates. Forests have many useful aspects in the ecosystem because they provide many species to the ecosystem. They play a very important role in developing a country because provide building material, provide paper material, provide many industrial material, and play a key role in the economy of any country. Forests also remove pollutants and they contribute the biosphere stability. They may provide many important nutrients and they can decrease the number of pollutants from environment. They also causes rainfall. They also provide stability to the plants and the living organism. It's also a source of beauty and tourist attraction. But the human, like the other activity, they also cause deforestation and overhunting in the forest. And what are the effects of these activities, that is the deforestation and overhunting? The first one, more important, is the soil erosion. That if we remove the forest, if we remove the trees, the soil will be easily eroded or cleared by the heavy rainfall, and many important nutrients will be washed out. It become infertile and it become not suitable for the growth of the plants, for the growth or for the survival of the living organisms. As well as with the soil erosion, silted water gets stored in dams. That nutrients goes with the water and it will stored in the dams and it will decrease the storage capacity of the water in dams. So for this purpose, for this reason, the dams must be cleared with a heavy input of economy. Next is the decreased transpiration. That if we remove the forest, the rate of the transpiration, the rate of loss of water will be decreased, and there will be less humidity in the air and it will cause less rain. So all these are the effects of the deforestation. While the overhunting, if we hunt an animal, if we remove or kill an animal, it will cause the extinction and endangered situation of the animals. Like in Pakistan, many species of the animals are overhunted and they become sometime extinct and endangered, as we studied before this topic. So all the topics of these chapters are covered except the topic on page number 44, the steps for the conservation of the biodiversity and endangered species, that are given in your book very easy topic. Some steps are given that how can we reduce the loss of the biodiversity, how can we preserve the biodiversity, and three endangered species are given which are endangered in Pakistan. So you will study these topics, these two topics by yourself, having no problem. If you feel problem, then can ask us.